special event. MIPA has since July last year set up a small and medium practices committee, which we call the SMP committee, under the chairmanship of Mr. Clancy Apau. After its first 6 months of work, the committee has identified a number of challenges, ill practices, a disorganization of the accountancy profession, and particularly the delivery of professional services to the business community by individuals who are not qualified to do so. This key event regroups a number of speakers to discuss on a range of topics which is critical to the accountancy profession. We will also have a panel discussion and a question and answer session towards the end. And you will all have the opportunity to WhatsApp your question on this number as projected on the screen. Before we start our program, I will request you all if you can kindly put your mobiles on silent mode. So without further delay, let us now proceed to our welcoming speech, which will be delivered by the Chief Executive Officer of MIPA, Mr. Sudhir Newaj.
It gives me indeed great pleasure to welcome you all to this awareness event under the theme Red Card to Rogue Accounting. I wish to express our appreciation to the Honorable Mahem Kumar Sivatan for having accepted our invitation, and we are honored to have you as our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may all be aware, the Honorable Minister is a professional accountant and also a MIPA member. Honorable Minister, we believe that your ministry and MIPA will continue to work together for the advancement and betterment of the accounting profession in Mauritius. I would also like to thank MIPA's small and medium practices committee members for coming up with this initiative to organize this awareness event alongside with MIPA board and the MIPA office. Throughout this event, you will get a more detailed picture of how rogue accountants are tarnishing the image of the accounting profession in Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, usually small businesses find it useful to outsource a portion of their operations, perhaps to concentrate on those they consider to be of greater importance. One of the popular arms of a business that gets outsourced is the accounting function. Small business owners know that having a trusted advisor on their team can have immeasurable benefits. Outsourcing to a trusted financial advisor can lead to increased cash flow, business awareness, knowledge, accuracy, on-time reporting, and business forecasting for future growth. However, not all finance professionals are bred the same, and engaging a rogue accountant can result in serious business and financial loss for those using their services. Unfortunately, we have seen several examples of poor financial advice that has severely affected the lives of small business owners. But then, one might ask, how can he be sure that he has engaged the right accountant to handle his business book? Is it even possible to differentiate between a genuine and a rogue accountant if someone has little or no knowledge in this area? I will say yes. The right fundamental questions should be asked. What qualification do they have? Do they have any professional affiliations? How experienced are they? And most importantly, are they registered with MIPA as public accountants? Experience comes with a price tag. If you propose a cutthroat price, then raise a flag, or else you may soon get into trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you to work collectively with MIPA and lodge complaints against any rogue accountants you come across. Very soon, we are coming up with a whistleblowing policy, and a hotline will be made available to report cases of malpractices. Honorable Minister, we thank you again for having taken some time out of your busy schedule and for having joined us in this very important campaign against rogue accounting. I would like to thank the SMP committee members who have contributed for this event to happen, with the support of the MIPA board, and most importantly, my staff. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a very fruitful awareness event.
Chairman and CEO of regulatory bodies, distinguished guests, members of the media, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend this awareness event. I know after the last, when we had to cancel, it's a bit short notice, but I'm glad to see a lot of you present here today. I'm also very pleased to be here today, as this is my first opportunity to address you as the chairman of this esteemed institution. 4 years back, at the edition of the Forum of Accountants, there was an open discussion on rogue accountants. And this has been the hot topic for most MIPA events since then, and one of the priorities of MIPA, whereby multiple actions are being taken. I mean, since taking office, I've also been contacted by several members in order for us to provide our stance as well as steps taken to tackle the issue of rogue accountants, which shows how important this is to our members. MIPA's Small and Medium Practices Committee, SMP, was set up in July 2019. This event is one of the initiatives of the SMP committee, and it will further detail the depth of rogue accountancy affecting the accounting profession in Mauritius. But I will leave you to discover more from our eminent speakers and panelists later. I'm taking this opportunity to also inform you of the various initiatives undertaken by MIPA. Following our IFAC membership, MIPA has molded its strategies to focus on the uplifting of the accountancy profession in Mauritius. The presence of various MIPA subcommittees showcase these achievements of the statement of the membership obligations set by the International Federation of Accountants, IFAC. MIPA's strategy has also been beefed up following the ISAMLAG Mutual Evaluation Report and National Risk Assessment on Money Laundering and Financial Terrorism. An anti-money laundering unit has been created to conduct on-site and off-site supervision with regards to money laundering and terrorism financing issues. A practice review panel for non-audit professional services will be implemented to ensure quality assurance. We have signed MOUs with both the ACC and ICAW to work on the best practices and better service our members. As promised, MIPA has increased the number of CPD trainings delivered to its members. We are aiming this year to increase it to at least one CPD event every 2 months. With the revamping of the MIPA website, multiple corners are available to members to enrich their knowledge through the IFAC corner or tech resources. Regular IFAC updates are posted as well as the UN sanction list. MIPA members will be delighted to learn that this upcoming April, MIPA will launch its first e-newsletter. You will soon receive correspondences from MIPA to contribute to the quarterly newsletter. We're also planning to implement online voting for all future elections. We are currently in the midst of our first compliance review since membership gained in November 2016, and we have been highly praised by the assessors for showing continuous progress and dedication towards a more compliant profession. MIPA has been sending multiple representations to the concerned ministries for changes to be brought to the Financial Reporting Act to better regulate the accounting profession, and I would seize this opportunity to request the Minister to assist MIPA in achieving this milestone. I urge the MIPA members to reflect on the emerging challenges that the profession is facing and request them to collectively take steps to meet these challenges. Finally, I would like to seize this opportunity to thank the MIPA board, the CEO of MIPA, MIPA members of staff, and the SMP committee members for their contribution in hosting this event. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for gracing us with your presence for this function and also your constant support to our profession. Thank you all for your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a very fruitful awareness event.
Mr. Vivek Pedadal, the chairperson of the MIPA, Mr. Ken Siapadu, chairperson of Small and Medium Practices Committee, Mr. Niwaj, CEO of MIPA, the staff of MIPA, members of representing different institutions here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon to you all. I must say it gives me great pleasure to be here this afternoon because we are all from the same feathers, I might say. So I view it as a singular honor to speak at this MIPA event, and I'm particularly pleased the Institute has invited me to speak early in my new office as Minister of Financial Services so that I may take the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I'm also particularly humbled to address the fraternity of accountants to which I belong. I see many long-time friends among the audience and also a few new members. MIPA has, since inception, not only played a critical role in promoting the accountancy profession, but has also become central to the Mauritian economy. It is today a household name upholding standards vital for the public good. The success of MIPA as a local professional body of accountants is a matter of great pride for the country and worthy of praise. I take this opportunity to extend my appreciation to MIPA board members, committee members, as well as management for their committed efforts in advancing the Institute's agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, before I share my views on the theme of this afternoon's event, as this is my first address to the profession, I would like to share with you my perspectives on the importance of good professional conduct and its direct relevance to on the country's positioning in the international marketplace. We know that historically the objective of accounting and audits was to ensure numerical accuracy. Gone are the bean counting days. In the advent of technological breakthroughs, the profession is called upon to make paradigm shifts in their callings. Financial innovation has led to opportunities for more efficient and effective accounting. The profession's role has shifted to judgments of value relied upon for decision making. And in the discharge of this role, ladies and gentlemen, accountants now have to demonstrate much higher levels of trust and ethical standards. I start with trust. The great financial crisis shook the world on its axis and left in its wake a lingering feeling of doubt and mistrust in the manner in which professionals service their clients. In feverish response to declining levels of public confidence, new rules and policies had to be quickly shaped to reestablish the trust. However, it takes time and consistency to rebuild trust, and this could only be achieved if accounts are prepared with quality information, vouch for accuracy, and reflect the principles of good governance. Investors need transparency and visibility in predicting future performance. They need to see the realities of the business through a clear glass, as financial statements will ultimately contribute towards sound and successful business decisions. As we say in our jargon, financial statements depict true and fair view of the operations of an organization. In short, accountants act as a vigil to ensure that companies do not resort to creative accounting. So it is not surprising that the accounting profession is being constantly challenged to meet the demands for quality information. I now move to ethical behavior in the profession. Ladies and gentlemen, we have embraced an honorable profession. We should remain loyal to this calling, serve and guide our clients with higher standards and of integrity. We should not only be, but also be seen to be above reproach and worthy of the trust that clients, stakeholders, and decision makers place in us. We should bear in mind that all investment decisions taken on our advice have a larger impact on the economy as a whole. We should always be questioning and probing into questionable practices and never remain complacent. In our complex and fast-moving era, there are often difficult choices to be made. It is important that we can refer to a universally accepted document to guide our judgment, conduct, and practice. It is reassuring that MIPA has subscribed to IFAC's Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics should not only look pretty on the bookshelf, but should be embedded in us and be used as an everyday reference guiding actions and judgments. Corporate failures, fraud, and corruption have elevated the significance of ethics around the world. More than ever, the responsibilities of accountants and auditors are held to higher levels of expectation in a bid to safeguard public interest. As hard-working and diligent accountants, I would say, please continue to do your work with utmost integrity. Like any barrel, it is true that you will come across a few rotten apples. Ensure that you remain beyond contamination. Uncompromising standards of ethical behavior matter. Clean governance matters. Mesdames et messieurs, il ne suffit que de quelques brebis galeuses pour contaminer le troupeau. The sad truth is that a few misbehaving members may bring discredit to the whole profession. When the books are carefully doctored and window dressed, and auditors knowingly issue favorable opinion, then they stop serving the public interest. It might be easy to give in to temptation, to conceal and fudge the numbers. One silly moment of weakness can put a black mark and scar one's professional standing in life. We are the guardians of this profession, and its nobleness, its integrity must be preserved by each one of us. Pleasure is immediate, ladies and gentlemen, while happiness is a long-term phenomenon. I now come to the reason we are assembled here today. MIPA is campaigning to protect the term accountant for those with professional qualifications only and who are duly licensed to practice as such. The issue being that small businesses would be receiving improper advice and poor service from the so-called rogue accountants and non-accountants. The challenge is that those so-called accountants frequently disappear when their failings become exposed and the aggrieved companies have no recourse to legal action. The culprits will not have professional indemnity insurance as they are not professionals. A myopic view frequently taken is that the cost of hiring an accountant could be prohibitively expensive. Yet, his stewardship is invaluable. The quality of advice provided by a professional accountant could be the difference between success and failure. A rogue accountant may be able to offer more modest fees and may be asking less probing, uncomfortable questions to the client compared to a more competent and licensed accountant who is bound by virtue of his membership to adherence to the code of discharge on his duties thoroughly and with integrity. Amidst realities on the ground, whereby governments are reducing red tape and simplifying accounting and tax returns for the SME population, this gives more latitude and also business opportunities to rogue accountants. Ultimately, it is the onus not on the client to ensure that the person they enlist is sufficiently competent and honest to carry out the assignment effectively. The role of MIPA is undoubtedly to police members. The question remains how far MIPA police the roads. This said, we should also look at the issue from policy-making perspectives. In a bid to give more much-needed oxygen to the SME sector, we should not lose sight of the very valid reason which motivated government to implement policy actions such as relieving businesses with annual turnover of less than 50 million rupees from the need to have audited financial statements. This is a segment which usually contributes to the commercial economy. It accounts in excess of 40% to GDP and represents over 50% of total number of employed persons in the country. While it is important that these companies be shielded from failures of any sort stemming from the bad advice of people masquerading as accountants, yet allow me to be the devil's advocate and ask you to consider whether there may not be merit in allowing the financial statements to be elaborated by non-accountants or registrable accountants probably for modest fees, would it not be wise thereafter to leave the interpretation of financial statements and giving advice thereon solely to licensed accountants? Ladies and gentlemen, I was thinking about the theme of your campaign, which I believe may be a little bit of a misnomer, as a literal reading would beg the question, why are we bashing our accountants? Did the accountants perpetrate the fraud? Most probably not. At most, coziness with the client beyond level of comfort could be argued. Why was the problem not dealt with by the internal audit service? What about the risk committee? What about directors' responsibilities? It is more of a governance matter. Leading court cases have held that auditors cannot be held responsible for carefully laid schemes of fraud, nor should they be liable to an intermediate class, or rather indeterminate class for an indeterminate time for an indeterminate amount. While there have been cases where auditors were found to be flaunting norms and best practices and selling their opinion at little cost, yet we cannot blame the whole community for the dishonesty of few members. We are probably one of the countries with the highest concentration of accountants. And I must say that we have everything to be proud of. Our accountants are in high demand internationally. While I appreciate the risk companies would be taking in relying on work delivered by those masquerading as accountants, I would be careful and hesitant in labeling our accountants as rogues. I say this from my perspective as Minister of Financial Services, where I am witnessing how unwarranted criticisms by the press are needlessly affecting our reputation on the international arena. These adverse reports include accounting practices. It takes long, arduous efforts to build good reputation. And just one ill-informed article to jeopardize everything we have worked to achieve. As the cliche goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it took less than a day to demolish it. We are striving hard to improve the image of the financial services sector and driving its expansion. We are putting committed efforts in the realization of our objective to double the sector's size by 2030. This vision should clearly spell out MIPA's agenda to become a leading body of credible professionals with mixed bag of competencies. Indeed, the growth in business transactions and economic activity will undeniably mean more work for you and place even greater responsibilities at your doorstep. I'm sure that you will take all steps to ensure that the sector achieves its full potential in the realization of this vision. And it is in this context that preserving the reputation of our accountants is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to those who are registrable but resisting the registration process, I believe that it is proper for MIPA to exercise its powers and issue yellow caution cards so that those rogue accountants come to book. I understand that registration requirements are being reinforced both at the Financial Reporting Council and at MIPA to uphold the quality and credibility of our profession. I take good note of your remarks early on, and I'll pass it on to those who are involved in that, so we'll see how we come to conclude on that. And I'll ask, therefore, both institutions to work together for the good work, and I'll extend my support in such activities, initiatives. So, ladies and gentlemen, I take also this opportunity to encourage MIPA to double efforts to ensure the continued professional development of its members. Only if we have appropriate capacity can we make notable contribution to economic development. Alongside structured training programs, we should not underestimate the value of mentoring, which is a powerful tool for learning from those with broader experience. I look at Mr. Aparu, who's here, and so many long experienced accountants who've been kind of developing this country for so many years. I'm sure you have so much to contribute further with our new members. So I believe that there is no substitute learning from those who have become wise after going through challenges and pitfalls and come out stronger and more resilient. By sharing such experiences, whether successes or failures, we not only contribute to the evolution of its new members, but ultimately contribute to the economy as a whole. The culture of lifelong learning should be encouraged to ensure that members remain competent, relevant, and future ready, particularly within a rapidly changing international scene. I say this particularly in the context of disruptive technologies, which can be a gift for our profession, but can also be a serious threat. It is important to learn and understand the opportunities and challenges. It is imperative to remain nimble and increase adaptability capabilities to various shifts in relevant competencies. In addition to heighten awareness on technological advances, technical training should be reinforced by training on values and ethical conduct. Indeed, the very foundation of the accountancy professional is built on values which should radiate in everything we do. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, in closing, allowing me to reiterate my appreciation to the committed efforts put in by MIPA and its leadership in its mission of advancing the development of the accounting sector, in fostering economic growth and protecting public interest through the implementation of high-quality standards. The reputation of our jurisdiction as a trusted international financial center is undoubtedly built on the foundation of a robust financial reporting framework and internationally recognized accounting and auditing standards. We have been diligently promoting this reputation over the years, and thanks to our laborious efforts in keeping pace with international standards, today Mauritius ranks favorably in international league tables. The World Bank issued its flagship report, Ease of Doing Business 2020, and according to which Mauritius maintains pole position on the African continent, ranking first for the region. In addition, it has also made a considerable progression on its worldwide ranking by moving up 7 places. And our accounting profession, in particular, is playing a key role to help Mauritius maintain, as well as improve, these rankings, which go a long way to instill trust and confidence in the international financial sector, services sector. You can rest assured of my support to ensure MIPA has the structure and resources to continue to deliver on this mandate. Dear friends, we have many reasons to be proud of our profession. Let us continue to be going concerns, devoted to public interest, and moving forward to deliver for everyone. I thank you for listening.
From, and which I represent, has been instrumental last year when this act was discussed and passed in Parliament, and we have taken a very constituency approach last year, because whenever all the tripartite as lawyers, we had our own viewpoints on many things. This afternoon I'm not going to bother you with these technical aspects. As far as possible, I'll try to remain non-technical, and in case you need a bit of further information, there will be a sort of Q&A then. I will also try to relate the subject matter to the theme of today's event, the role of public accountants, and what is your role per se, when you need, and we need collectively to ensure that this law is applied, is complied. As an introduction, the Workers' Rights Act has come into operation last year. It is the law of the land. It came into operation on the 24th of October. Why I'm stressing this? Because the law was passed in Parliament a bit earlier, and there was a bit of a lag. But as from 24th of October, it is the law. It has repealed the Employment Rights Act. The Employment Rights Act doesn't exist anymore. It is the foundation, the enabling act governing all employment relationship in Mauritius. In the world of work, this is the law of the land. This is the enabling act. It is, in very simple terms, the minimum flow of rights. Nobody can work under an employment relationship having terms and conditions which are lesser than the provisions of the Workers' Rights Act. Now, to be cautious, and why this is the first takeaway for public accountants, this is the law of the land, but in several sectors we have remuneration orders. Whenever you are practicing or you are providing services in certain sectors, please do take your time to know which sector it is and whether there is a remuneration order. Because the Workers' Rights Act works in tandem with 31 remuneration orders which exist. Why 31? There was 30 previously. One, with the coming of the Workers' Rights Act, a new remuneration order for the ICT sector has been introduced. Because certain provisions of the Workers' Rights Act, you will find them in remuneration orders a bit differently, because there is a sort of carve-out or exception or transition. This is the general scheme, the salient features. There has been a change in the definition of worker. There has been a bit of change in working time. There has been a new regime for fixed-term agreement, new entitlements for leaves, payment of remuneration and end-of-year bonus. Many among you provide this service for payroll and all these things. New formula for calculation of end-of-year bonus. Restructuring of enterprises, the route for going to the redundancy board, how to prepare your case, how the financials, what are the documents we require, financial statements and everything. You will find there is a new route. Termination of employment, new regime, and finally, portable retirement gratuity fund, which is a measure which takes into account the working lives, the continuous employment of employees, so that when there is an event, There is retirement, money is there, and it funds the retirement. So the first point, I don't have a specific slide for that, which needs to be taken into account, is change in the definition of worker. Today, previously, a worker was somebody who was drawing up to 30,000. The law has increased this threshold to 50,000, which means that from the national minimum wage till, why I'm referring to national minimum wage, because it is the minimum floor. Nobody can earn something lesser than the national minimum wage. National minimum wage till 50,000 rupees, that person is considered to be a worker for this act. So all the provisions technically will be applicable. Beyond 50,000, there are certain provisions which may not be applicable to somebody drawing 75,000 ou 200,000 ou 400,000 or whatever salary. This is beyond that. There are other provisions. And over there, just for your govern, it will be the contractual provision, what is provided in the contract for the things. Working time, quickly. The law has restated the concept of the working day being 8 hours. This is a long time battle of our trade union friends, and we have enshrined it in our law so that the working day in Mauritius is 8 hours. You can work beyond 8 hours, it will be considered extra work. And working week is 45 hours. Either you do it on a 5-day roster or a 6-day roster. Why this change? Previously, there was fortnight of 90 hours. Overtime was paid after 90 hours. Then you can see the shift, the main change. Today it is 8 hours, after 8 hours it's overtime. 1.5 after 8 hours. Shift work, this is a concept which has been introduced. The shift, once again, is limited to 8 hours. Previously, we had shifts of beyond 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours. There has been a transition till 31st of January. We are in February now. This transition is no more valid. So shifts today will be of 8 hours. And if the shift is performed at night, 5 consecutive nights only. When we work at night, for night work, there is a 15% night allowance per day. Overtime on public holiday, the regime has increased. Previously, or currently, it is for the first 8 hours, it is twice in addition to the pay packet. And beyond 8 hours, it is 3 times in addition to the pay packet. So you can see that the cost of overtime has increased.